video we will understand what is a job, what are parallel jobs, and why do we need to purchase them and when. So in our last video we created this simple pipeline, and if I go to the definition of this pipeline, in here if you see, we have not mentioned anything with the name jobs here. We just gave the pool name and a series of steps which we want to run, right? But when this pipeline got executed, if I go to its runtime instance, you see it has executed everything as a job. Okay. Now if I go to the documentation here, it says a job is the smallest unit of work that can be scheduled to run, and it is a series of steps that run sequentially as a unit, and every pipeline at least has to have one job. Okay, so in here since we gave the series of steps that we want to run, it just combined them everything into one unit of work, that is job, right? And it has executed as part of our pipeline in our self-hosted agent. Okay, this one. Now when we create this YAML definition, YAML pipelines, in general when setting up CI/CD scenarios, we divide that pipeline into multiple stages. Okay, stages: stage A, stage B, so it can be dev, test, and so on. And this stage will have a collection of jobs. Okay, and each job will have a series of steps which have tasks that we want to execute. Okay, so now we understood job, that a job will be part of pipelines, like job 1, job 2, pipeline 2, job 1, job 2. Okay, now we'll understand parallel jobs. So as we understood, a pipeline is just a collection of jobs, right? So in our organization, so with multiple teams, they might be developing their own pipelines, and they do not want to wait for other pipelines to you know complete to run their pipeline, right? So what we want to achieve is we want to run all these jobs in parallel manner. So we want to run all this pipeline in parallel manner, so we don't want to use the sequential approach, right? So how to achieve that? Is it enough like if we just trigger the pipeline and Azure DevOps will take care of running them in parallelly? That's the question we will explore. And the other part, to run these pipelines, we registered our self-hosted agent, or we can use Microsoft hosted also. We registered this machine with one agent in that, but we can also have multiple agents in a given instance. Okay, in a machine. So will by having multiple agents on one machine, can we achieve parallel jobs? That is not possible. Okay, so what happens is, so when you run a pipeline from in Azure DevOps, this Azure DevOps will push the job to run on the agent. It is not the agent who is going to pull the job from the pipeline. So the deciding factor is over here. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll see this in use case, like we'll since we have created one pipeline in our last video, we'll run the multiple instances of this pipeline. That means we'll be running multiple pipelines, right? And we'll see whether they are getting queued or not. Okay, so this is our pipeline, and what I'll do, I'll just run them. Okay, this is one instance running, and this is another pipeline, and this is another pipeline, and this is another instance of the pipeline, and this is another. Okay, imagine this is happening in our organization. So imagine like multiple people creating multiple pipelines and they're triggering. So if you see here to our pipeline, you see now some are in queue stage and some are running. So this is running, and now this has started, but still this is in queue. So the reason is like now our agent, even though we have multiple agents, even though our agents are ready, this from Azure DevOps organization, it is not going to push that. Okay, it is not going to push that pipeline or a job on this agent. So the reason is here the Microsoft has locked to generate the revenue is they came up with a concept called parallel jobs. So here if you see this Azure DevOps, this is our private project, and in parallel jobs, for private project, when we have self-hosted agent, as of now we have only one parallel job. Okay, that means from Azure DevOps organization, at any given time you can run only one job at a time on your machine. Okay, so it does not matter how many agents you have, how many machines you register. If you do not have enough jobs purchased here, then Azure DevOps organization will not allow you to run like jobs in parallel fashion. So if this pipeline is already running, this will be stay in queue. So in our case we saw that, so it has executed, but we saw that they were getting in queue, right? So okay, let me show. So we saw that we only have like one here. So if we purchase like more, that means based on the number of jobs we have, that will allow us to run multiple pipelines in parallel fashion. So we understood like what parallel jobs and why do we need parallel jobs, right? We need parallel jobs so that we can run our pipelines in parallel manner. Okay, and when to purchase them, the question is like when. So when is like let's say if our team is big and they are writing many pipelines, and if we observe like they are getting queued for long time, then there is a dashboard which we can use to get that details. So if if the jobs are, if the pipelines are getting queued for a long time, then that's the use case which we need to consider to purchase more pipelines, more parallel jobs. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you for your time. See you in next video.